Versailles area and into western parts of Fayette County. This is out right across from Bluegrass Airport on Versailles Road. So we will see that camera likely rocking and rolling coming up here in about 15 minutes or so.
And it'll look like a shelf coming at you.
Right.
That's what's going to come. That's, we've seen a lot of pictures of those.
Called a shelf cloud. That's right.
That's right. Called a shelf cloud, and will be plowing right toward us here very shortly. That's the first sign, the first indicator that things are changing out there. Now I'm going to go to the tower cam, and this tower cam should be able to get a great view of it because we're looking due west right now, and that's where everything is happening out in those western skies. So that will continue to head toward us and give us that potential for those damaging winds that will likely be rolling forward here. Another update on the warning situation. We have two different segments of warnings. We've got one that covers central Kentucky.
And that probably should be connected by now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, that needs to get connected.
And then there's the one to the south that does include a large chunk of our area. You're talking about the most populated part of our area right now, Chris.
And Jim, on my Kentucky Weather Twitter/X feed, just got a picture of a semi completely blown over there in East Louisville. So that's part and parcel of what we're dealing with.
That's exactly what's happening out there. So that rolled through. That's the same line that we are now facing right here, right now, in central Kentucky as well. Let me show you the First Alert Radar Network, and you can see how it's advancing in here. And the thing about this one, too, Chris, it's got a lot of forward speed.
It does. It's trucking.
And when you get that forward speed, this is when you can get those kinks that you were talking about, because you get little certain areas that go maybe a little faster than the one just north of it, and that causes that kink to develop. And
that's all it takes.
And that spin can start to come into play. So while, tornadoes are bad, we know that. That's a given. These winds right here are bad enough because you're still looking at, if we can get 70 to 80 miles per hour, it's a base for a hurricane.
Let's go in on Anderson County, and we'll look at one of those kinks that may be trying to form just on the Anderson and Woodford County line, I believe, Jim. So Jim's going to take this line in, or we're going to take this radar in. We're going to essentially stop the animation part of it. We'll go about right in here between Versailles and Lawrenceburg, and then we're going to look at this storm. And just to see those winds inside, we know this was the part of the line, Jim, that was giving us upwards of 80 miles per hour with some of those winds. There's almost a little bit of a kink that is here into areas south of 62, southeast of Lawrenceburg. This is Anderson County. This is Woodford County. And yeah, there it is. It's a little more pronounced on that sweep that just went through there. These are the tornado signatures that are really sometimes hard to decipher because they are quick hitting and usually on the leading edge of some of these lines. So this is, when you see one of these, Jim, we've seen this line produce these across western Kentucky for the better part of the past few hours. When you see that, sometimes Weather Service will just have enough just to go ahead and pop a quick tornado warning to be safe, because those tornadoes, those are the ones that really can just spawn very quickly, and then they're gone just as fast. And that's the concern when you see something like this.
Already getting a report out of Anderson County in Lawrenceburg, Chris, that a structure fire has started there.
Okay.
And it was because lightning.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was caused
Tremendous
by a lightning
lightning.
strike. So that's coming out of that area already, the Bluebird Court area in Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, but now this is into Versailles, into Woodford County now, and this is going to blast its way very quickly into Jessamine and Fayette counties. We know we're getting the hard-hit part of the storm into Frankfort, Versailles, Lawrenceburg, Salvisa, Harrodsburg. That's happening right now. But here in just a matter of a few minutes, if you're watching us from down at Keene into Jessamine County, Nicholasville, into Versailles Road, here into Lexington, toward Harrodsburg Road, yeah, this is just a few minutes from being on top of you. So Versailles, Nicholasville Road, Harrodsburg Road, zipping its way through. And that little kink, Jim, even though the radar we just updated, and that is still showing up right there. It's not the strongest in the world, but you know what? It doesn't have to be when you're on the leading edge of winds like what we're dealing with.
I'm just going back and looking at just the wind speeds out at the airport from the anemometer out there. And just from 12:20, from 12:10, we've gone from 9 miles per hour sustained wind up to 14 miles per hour sustained wind. And it's just now, that last report came out at 12:35. So you can see that the wind is picking up on that side of town, and it's all an extension of this main area that's driving some of those
Sure.
potential hurricane force winds there into our area. So that is certainly happening out there, and it's been a steady increase out there too. And,
Yeah, and and part of what we do when we have to step away like this and just leave the radar up is we got to look and see what reports that are coming in, because that gives us Jim, a really good idea of what we're about to see as this storm makes its way into central Kentucky.
there's just so much information out there and available now. So and
it's in real time.
it's in real time. And, it's changed so much since both of us started doing weather years ago. So
Couple.
Yeah, so you get more information quicker, and that means we can have better information for you.
Yep, that's what it's all about. And seeing that line that goes with damaging winds all the way through Harrodsburg into Danville, so Lancaster, Bryantsville, Wilmore, Nicholasville, Lexington, this is rolling its way right on top of us as we speak. And that little bit of an extra bow is showing up now right on top of ourselves. So Jim, our Keeneland cam, hang on, is now showing
There it is.
the shelf cloud that is rolling on in.
There it is. There it
So
is.
that is a photogenic shelf cloud, and this vantage point is really going to show up quite nicely as this thing makes its way through. So essentially, what happens is that when this shelf cloud looks like a big wave kind of coming in, right? But it's also like a shelf. It's called a shelf cloud. When this gets over top of you, and as it passes over where you are, all of a sudden, the winds go crazy. You can get 50, 60 plus mile an hour winds, and the blinding rain settle in as well. So just as we're on air, you can literally see this cloud moving over the west side of Lexington, and that is working its way out of Woodford County. So Versailles, we've been sounding the alarm for you folks. Now we're sounding it for Fayette County into Lexington, as damaging winds are likely to roll on through with that photogenic shelf cloud indicative of a damaging wind signature.
All right, now, again, this is the same storm that blasted through Anderson County. Chris, now getting a report out of there that a tree fell on a vehicle on Woodford Street in Lawrenceburg. And EMS out there checking on patients right now. So again,
Same storm, yeah.
It's the same storm that's moving here that we radar estimated wind 70 to 80 miles per hour is still plowing through, and that's it right there. That's that cloud structure you're seeing coming our way. It's all part of the same thing.
Yeah, it is. And, and we have what are known as the Kentucky Mesonet sites, Jim, across the area. They're official recording stations, 100 plus across our region. We got just about one in each county into central Kentucky. And you often will look at those and say, well, the winds were only, or the winds were this or that. Then you got to take a step back and think, okay, wait a minute. I am looking at a measurement from a anemometer, all right, in an area that is no wider than me. What are the odds that the strongest winds hit that one small little pin dot on the earth? Very, very minute chance that the strongest winds hit that. And often, a lot of folks in the weather world, Jim, get kind of roped into believing, oh, that's only what it was, because it didn't hit, the strongest winds didn't hit this pin dot on a map.
Right, right. And there's a much bigger area out there. You're talking thousands of square miles that could likely be impacted from one point to the other.
Yeah, that Keeneland cam, Jim, we're going to watch the real-time observations from Bluegrass Airport.
Yeah, I've got them pulled up too, yeah.
Because that's right across the street from our Keeneland cam. There you go with the warnings that are out. Tornado watch is out for a large chunk of real estate in that first alert radar network. My goodness, this thing is lighting up with the severe storms that are moving into central Kentucky as we speak, with wind damage that is likely, that is blowing into the west side of town right now. It is crossing out of Versailles, out of Woodford County. This is essentially traveling to the east on 60 or Versailles Road, and that is going to blast central Kentucky here, or the Lexington metro of central Kentucky. It's already hitting the metro. It's going to blast Lexington coming up here in just a matter of seconds. And there's that Keeneland cam again, because, Jim, we want to see we want to show folks what this is like when that shelf cloud passes over top of you.
We do, and just in case, I'm talking to Russ upstairs running this whole operation for us. Wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and get the generator going.
Yep, good idea. Very good idea.
At this point, because those winds, they haven't made it to this side of town yet, but they're on their way. So, Russ, I know you can hear me. Let's get that thing rolling so we can stay on and keep everybody prepared. It'll kick on by itself, but sometimes it's best to get it going before it arrives.
that way you guys will never lose us, hopefully.
Yeah, there's no interruption that way. But that is already making its way across that side of town. And what I'm looking for, too, Chris, is right as that passes, that's usually when you start to see some of the trees swaying and all of that. So I'm watching that off in the distance here from that Keeneland camp. So that is what's marching across Fayette County.
Yeah, and my Twitter feed now lighting up, Jim, with the shelf cloud views.
And there's the rain, too.
Yeah,
See it?
yeah.
Off in the distance.
So here you go. So this cloud is now just about out of camera view because it's coming over top of the camera, which is out at the grandstand here at Keeneland. But here, as Jim was pointing out, you can see the wall of water that is coming at us with the heavy rain. So watch the visibility just decrease here. You know, it almost looks like, Jim, there's a little lowering of that base of that cloud. It could be the rain, but here you go with the rain coming in very quickly. So the evolution of a squall line of thunderstorms and a damaging wind setup is being played out live on our Keeneland weather cam. So the visibility is going down. You see the sheets of rain that are coming across the track here. And you can actually, Jim, look at this. You see the wind that is whipping part of the track around.
There it is. And I've been watching those three trees behind you, right there behind you. They continue to sway. They weren't there for a little while, but now right there in that far right corner of your screen, they're swaying now.
Yeah, and we will know if we lose power out at on the west side of Lexington because this camera will go dark very quickly. But yeah, you see the sheets of rain that are coming in. Goodness gracious, that is what the rest of Lexington is getting ready to see. So damaging winds up to 50 and 60 plus miles per hour, likely with the possibility of some embedded hurricane force wind gusts that are blowing their way on through. So we watch this. This is on the west side of Lexington near Bluegrass Airport, literally right across the street from Bluegrass Airport at Keeneland, which most of us around here, we know about Keeneland. And you see those sheets of rain that are rolling on in. So this is a cool evolution, Jim. That is playing out in real time, not just on the radar, but you're seeing this storm as it makes its way into Lexington right now.
Oh, and it is blowing. I mean, just watch those big sheets as he was talking about. Just race across the track. No pun intended. I mean, but that's what they're doing. As that is what's coming for the rest of us here in Fayette County. I'll jump back to the radar so you can see the overall look of what is happening in town. And there it is. And they made a connection, by the way, on the severe thunderstorm warnings. And they just extended some deeper into eastern Kentucky. We're talking 3 counties away they're doing this. So that's good.
You know, Jim, I just got a picture on my Twitter feed of what that lowering of the cloud that I was looking at. Here, check this out. It did almost look like a lowering wall cloud. And that's a view out at the airport.
I need to try to get that on.
Yeah, if we got a producer up there, director, if we can get some of these pictures on from my Twitter feed. I just tweeted out one of that possible wall cloud literally out at the airport. No idea, because it was a picture, if this thing was rotating or not, Jim.
There it is.
But this is what we are looking at as it makes its way right on top of Bluegrass Airport. You see one of the planes there. When you see that lowering of the cloud, now if that starts rotating, that's when you got to sound the alarm with a tornado warning. But that was what I was noticing on the Keeneland cam, and I said, man, it looks like there's almost a little bit of lowering on the left side of the screen, and that's it.
And there it is.
There it is.
That's what we were watching just a minute ago live in real time when we were out there at that Keeneland cam.
And that's how you can get a quick spin up of a tornado out of these lines. We are blanketing the entire region right now. We can come back to our radar with severe thunderstorm warnings. And Jim, let's just kind of reset everything real quickly to show folks what is going on. We can come back to the radar, guys. Let me show you the warnings that are out. Jim said they just connected this. Look at this. Continuous warnings now from southern Indiana through the Lexington Metro, down Interstate 75 on either side of 75, all the way now to roughly Jellicoe, Tennessee. I mean, that's expansive. That's a widespread damaging wind event. And Jim, the lightning on this entire line is increasing, which again says we're going to see wind damage all the way through eastern Kentucky. If you're in eastern Kentucky now, this is coming in your direction. Those warnings go as far east now as Knox County and Bell County, as far east as Clark County. You know what? This is a weather service in Jackson. Let's go ahead and just give those folks a heads up. It's not going to be 30 minutes before those storms are in these western counties. So let's go into central Kentucky, the Bluegrass region. Jim, let's look at the winds inside this again, as I hear some lightning striking near our tower, because we'll occasionally hear that in our ears, our IFB. But leading edge of this damaging wind is on the west side of Lexington. Big pocket of winds that may be up there 50 to 60 plus miles an hour is blowing into Georgetown, into Lexington, into Nicholasville, and eventually getting down into Richmond and Berea, and that's going to make its way to the east over the course of the next little bit.
And so far, the forward motion of these has been roughly 60 to 70 miles per hour. Just the motion, not the actual storm itself. That's what's been happening. They've been moving like that. Look, you can see that rain shield coming right there, too, can't you?
Downtown Lexington, you're about to see the mothership arrive right over top of you. I understand we may have video of our wall cloud out at Bluegrass Airport just a little bit ago. If we can take that video, there you go. And that's what we're dealing with. So, yeah, Jim, definite wall cloud. Question is, are we seeing any rotation, which obviously from our vantage point is a little harder to do as we both find the nearest TV monitor and squint.
I can't.
You can't make it out if there's anything that that would be rotating. But folks, that's a wall cloud, without question, into the west side of Lexington right now. And that may be, if that is still holding together, Jim, that is likely coming into downtown Lexington.
Oh, should be very soon.
Yeah, and those are the wall clouds. Typically, you get that lowering, and then if you get rotation and spin, those are the ones to worry about potentially spitting out a tornado.
And we can see the whole shelf coming at us from the big tower cam.
From the tower cam.
I'm going to switch over to it really quick, and then I'm going to adjust that downtown cam. But there it comes right there for
And
you.
I'm wondering if this right here, Jim, is still that little bit of a wall cloud we're seeing.
Let's go in.
It's kind of hard to see because we're on the very east side of Lexington. We're near Hamburg Pavilion. But I'm wondering if that little bit of a lowering is still right here, because that is definitely lower than the rest of the shelf cloud. So if we are, again, to see a little bit of spin, that it may come from that part of our storm. Not saying that's happening right now. Radar really isn't picking up on a whole lot, but you can almost see a little inflow coming into that too. But this would be that lowering of our cloud, Jim, right there, that we were likely just looking at that video from on our social media, right?
Right, that up close and personal shot, because that takes you right out there to that general direction. Yeah, it absolutely does. But
and we can switch to our downtown cam and flip it around to see exactly what they're saying. I'll keep the tower cam up here, and I'll do the radar. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So okay, let's get everybody involved here to show you what's going on. All the warnings that are out there. You see all the counties in yellow, a continuous line right now. Let's see just how much of a line this goes. Essentially, that is a little more than 200-mile consecutive line of severe thunderstorms right on top of central Kentucky. Damaging winds are rolling through here as we speak, and that is right on top of the Lexington Metro.
Yeah, there it is. Literally blowing in.
So we are dealing with the worst of the weather coming in, and check out downtown Lexington. So that is right on top of us. So our vantage point, now we're looking to the east. This is where the storm is going from downtown. Obviously, it's coming in from the west, but you can see the sheets of rain that are blowing across downtown, where we're likely getting those winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. So the rain on the camera lens here, our case that it's in, you can see how that is just there's nothing going north-south on that. That stuff is going from west to east as this severe thunderstorm races its way on top of Lexington right now. And Jim, likely to get some power outages and wind damage coming from this as it now makes its way across downtown Lexington. And that'll be coming here at the station very shortly on the east side. A little bit ago, 12:54, we had a 41-mile-an-hour gust out at the airport. Now, that was 8 minutes ago, so chances are we've exceeded that.
I've never seen it streak like this.
Yeah.
Across the look at that. Look
Right.
how it's just running across it. I've never seen that during an event like this. But that just shows you how strong those winds are. They're definitely cranking out there for sure.
Pretty incredible to see that.
As it's going right through downtown. And
A lot of trees down on roadways in Woodford County. So we've got that going for us now. Taylor County seeing all kinds of trees down, winds that have not caused some damage there. So, pictures are now flooding in.
They're flooding in from emergency management all
They
over
are,
the place.
yeah, they are.
I'm seeing them now. I mean,
And into central Kentucky, I'm going through my Twitter feed and just looking at stuff that folks are saying. Got some hail in Beaumont right now, Lexington. And the shelf cloud, Jim, very photogenic. That much we know. And that's what we're getting lots of pictures of right now.
Yeah, and because it's so intimidating when you see it come. And for good reason. Sometimes they're packing quite a punch. Right as soon as they blow over your head, that's when things start to get interesting right behind it. And that's what's happening out there. But there's downtown Lexington. That's what we've got pulled up here for you. And the wind continuing to run straight across the screen, not straight up and down, straight across, because of the wind that is forcing those raindrops to do that. I'll go back to First Alert Radar Network for you here, and you can see that line continues to whip across Kentucky, crossing I-75 here. Already doing it in parts of Fayette County and in Scott County. The rest of 75, it's on top of you here within the next 15, 25 minutes or so. That's what's happening with that. So, again, the reports are coming in confirming that this thing has been a wild one.
How's our tower cam looking? Because I bet that thing is about to rock and roll right now.
Because
that is 300 feet above our heads. And so the winds are going to be, this is cool. All right, let's take this back just a little bit and let's show folks what a shelf cloud looks like and just how intimidating it is. So, Jim, we'll take this back to the north just a little bit, looking more into northern parts of Fayette County to show what a line that we're dealing with as it makes its way across the area. And that still may be that little bit of an appendage that we're seeing in terms of a wall cloud trying, not rotating right now. We haven't seen that. But look at this. I call this the mothership from time to time. So here we are, the leading edge of it. Jim, let's pan and let's go through downtown Lexington and then into the south side of Lexington. That's still that appendage. But look at that impressive line. And as that comes over top of you, that's when things can get a little crazy. That's when the winds can reach potentially up to hurricane force. You get a ton of rain and the wind damage. So the leading edge of this is now essentially sweeping across Lexington and is making its way to the east side of town. This is right on top of downtown, and it is, Jim, it's rolling on 60. It's heading right at us, and this is going to make for another great view for us to check out in terms of what we're dealing with that shelf cloud making its way right on top of us. And we'll see things go downhill quickly, and it'll look even worse on this cam because it's 300 feet higher. When the winds are stronger, the higher up you go.
I suspect that we won't see anything once that really gets going. It's going to be like one of those foggy mornings, where you won't see much of anything other than raindrops possibly, splattering on the casing around.
Good point. 164,000 now without power. Franklin County, we're almost 1,000 without. These are customers, not just people. These are customers. So the number of people without power are way, way higher. About 2,000 into Anderson County so far. And those outages, Jim, are coming now into Woodford County, and I suspect we're going to see those here into Fayette County very, very shortly.
You know what? They're probably seeing them on the west end of town already. We just
our camera's still going, so
well, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. Now,
yeah.
Keeneland, we may have our own little power source out there.
There could be, yeah.
So, which is a good thing. Kudos to Keeneland for allowing us to put that cam out there. But here's the rest of All of that is just coming at us very quickly, and it's going to cause likely a little bit of damage, Jim, as it does so.
Oh, without question. That's exactly what's going to happen out there. As you're doing that, I'm looking at some of the reports, too, that are coming in, some of the same ones you were talking about here, of the wind moving in, and, of course, the mothership, the shelf cloud coming into play out there, too.
Yeah, we're looking, that's midway, Jim, where that storm just plowed through a little bit ago. So, yeah, this is the every bit as intense as what we have talked about for several days now. And again, the worst of this is right on top of the station here on Winchester Road. And this is about to plow right on top of WKYT. Jim, it looks like our tower cam may have just rebooted when the
power kicked.
The power just kicked.
Oh,
So,
that's true.
well, there goes our shelf cloud watching. All right, back for additional warnings that are out. So, my goodness, all the real estate in yellow. It has been a while since we've had a line of thunderstorms intense like this. This is continuing to make its way on through. And Western Kentucky, more rounds of severe thunderstorms, following that up and lifting to the northeast. So we've got crews across the area. Meteorologist Alexa Minton joins us now from downtown Lexington, where this storm just really blew through the downtown area. Alexa, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I just drove through the downtown Lexington area, and it was can see it's not far. We've got pooling water on roadways, definitely a lot of tree branches blowing across parts of the area. And like you all indicated, it was almost immediate. Once we were driving, we were calm. We saw that shelf cloud. Nothing was happening. And as soon as we crossed into the downtown area, things got pretty bad. Now we're on the back half kind of this area right now, still in the strong part, and things are calming a little bit, but that front line of the storm, front edge of the storm, is pretty intense. So definitely make sure you're get off the roadways, stay inside, and of course stay with KYT. I know Chris and Jim are doing a good job of keeping everyone alert. But for now, I'm headed towards Versailles, but we're going to turn around and follow the storm line. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Alexa Minton.
All right, stay safe out there, Alexa. And obviously, we'll be getting back to you as we go through the next little bit. But there's your First Alert radar network as of
Camera's
now.
online again.
Oh, the camera's back.
I think, yeah.
And there you go with all the warnings. Jim, look at that. We go from Cincinnati, southern Indiana, all the way down to Jellicoe, Tennessee, continuously with those warnings. Here's the tower cam. You could probably hear the rain now coming through our mics on the roof. But, yeah, the sheets of rain that are hitting us. Visibility way down, that big gust of wind howling its way across the Lexington area, likely 50, 60 plus miles an hour. So we're taking this. Now we're looking Winchester Road, bottom of your screen right here. Hamburg Pavilion, somewhere out there. And, yeah, in the distance. That would be Hamburg, and not too far away from us. So visibility here, way under a quarter of a mile.
I'm going to run this.
Heavy rains.
I'm going to run this to an odd place. I'm going to show you the whole
see.
top of the tower because I want to see if we can see any hints of daylight left.
Now we're looking through the tower.
Yeah.
Looking toward the eastern sky.
Yeah. So it's covered. It's
Yep.
made its way.
So the heavy rain is now all the way through
Yeah.
where we are. So that is what we're dealing with, kids. Winchester Road right there at the bottom of your screen. Blinding rains. Jim, the other thing we got to be on guard for, we haven't talked a whole lot about, the threat for flooding with repeat thunderstorms. You know, we've picked up a lot of rain this year.
You know, and especially, you know, in southern Kentucky, just the past few days, they picked up a ton.
Oh, yeah. Some 5-inch amounts.
Yes. And you throw in one of these quick hitters that can put down a few inches in about an hour or so, and you've got some trouble because these storms, they're not going to last a full hour. So I'm talking at least maybe up to, because this thing is moving along.
Yeah, and normally when, line goes through, we sound the all clear and say, hey, we're good. No, this is not that setup. So we got this going through. We got more thunderstorms that are really ramping it up here west of E-Town again. We even had tornado warnings with those a little bit ago, and we're going to see more of those later this evening. So it's not a one and done segment. And I believe we can show you the power outage map right now. We'll get to that. Yeah, there we go. So almost 164,000 customers, not people, just customers, individual residences, businesses without electric now, and you see that creeping into Franklin County, into Anderson County, and Woodford County, and watch that Woodford County number here shortly. All of those are going to jump. Look at Western Kentucky. You've got a few counties out here where you are almost to what, not quite 100%, but you know, you got 9,600 customers in Trigg County, and 8,100 of those are without power.
Incredible. Here's some other news from outside of Kentucky, Chris. Big time deal, though. Indianapolis 500 has been delayed, and they had to evacuate 125,000 people. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, goodness.
So that's happened up there, and they've got a severe thunderstorm warning right there for Indianapolis proper.
You know, and obviously the track has to be secure with some storm shelters or some safe places. Let's hope they could accommodate 120-some thousand people.
You know, you and I have been in a situation where we had to take shelter at a sporting event.
We did.
Well, a sporting event. It was a sporting event location.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago.
And you know, it was tight. But so hopefully they've got it. But that's what's happening up there, Chris.
Yeah. So there you see the current outage map, and we'll refresh this coming up here in a little bit because I suspect these numbers are going to absolutely jump yet again with this line. And again, all of this is just essentially for the western half of Kentucky. Back to our radar feed, and you see this big line of thunderstorms, first of many, that is racing through the area. Notice the curvature on that. So that is around essentially a low pressure that is kind of embedded within this whole mess of thunderstorms as everything is kind of spiraling through. But what you're seeing is that the damaging winds are right on the leading edge of this. Then you catch a break with just a lot of heavy rain, can cause some stream and street flooding, and then the next round of severe thunderstorms going to make its way across the area. Jim, let's go down towards Somerset, Southern Kentucky, Lake Cumberland again, because obviously it's the unofficial kickoff to summer. Lake Cumberland, the busiest of the bunch in Kentucky, the biggest of the bunch, essentially. And it's nasty here. And the leading edge of that is right on top of Somerset, rolling its way toward the east with damaging winds. And that's a lot of lightning. You know, set up like this, hitting on your Memorial Day weekend on a Sunday afternoon, where a lot of folks likely had plans. You just hope that they were paying attention to the forecast, not listening to a weather app, nothing like that, but listening to what we have been saying for 6 days since we first put out a first alert weather day for today. So you guys could plan your weekend based on what was coming our way. I kept saying I just did not like the look of Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. This is why. You've got damaging winds that are making their way across Lake Cumberland, heading into Somerset. And Jim, these damaging winds are likely to go all the way into eastern Kentucky.
They're going to plow through. And we've got some video now that from Nicholasville, I believe. This is some video from over there shared on. Again, I'm taking this from the leading edge of the strong to severe thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And going
hey,
eastward.
Jim, while we're doing that, for the booth, Amy Brack, I just got a picture of tree down and a car flipped in Versailles. And so we'll see, at least that's what the information said. Not really for sure, but it sure looks the part of what we're dealing with.
But there you see the latest track there on the south side of the line. London be there in 7 minutes. You're already experiencing some wind and maybe some light rain, but it's about to get a lot heavier here. Middlesboro, Harlan, Hazard, all within the next hour, taking you all the way up to 214. So it's going to make its way from Pulaski County, Hazard. It's going to make its way from Pulaski County to you in less than an hour. So that is hammering down through that area. So that's what's coming their way, Chris. No warning out yet, but I imagine there will be.
Yeah. This is one of those you just blanket the area out ahead of it. This from Twitter from Versailles. Take a look at this, and then another picture of what may have been a car that may have run into that tree down without knowing it, or something of that nature. Obviously not for sure. Could just be an accident there, and chances are, hopefully everybody is okay. But that's what we're dealing with out of Woodford County right now, Jim. Is those storms. The worst of the weather is through Versailles. It is through Woodford County. It is now just to the east of Lexington and rolling its way quickly points east from there.
And you see the debris. On that other picture, you see debris everywhere, little branches here and there, and that's going to be a common thing. So, I mean, it could have been anything, you're right, could have just been a regular accident, but that's definitely a car flip because I can see the spare tire there on the bottom of it. So it may have even been a truck for that matter.
Yeah,
It's hard to say from this perspective.
Got a picture of a big branch down at Manowar and Harrisburg Road. Getting reports, Jim, of trees down in Somerset. This is a lot of people, social media, Jim, is a blessing and a curse, right?
Amen.
It is a blessing and a curse. But in days like this, it's the blessing part of it because it gives us real-time information that folks are sending us, so we are able to really look and see what these storms are doing in real time and pass along the information that we're dealing with. So, again, guys, anytime up there in the booth you guys get some of these damage pictures that I'm retweeting, just pull those up at any time and just yell at me in my ear, and we'll talk about them. But that's Somerset, as that severe thunderstorm made its way through. I just got a picture of power lines and trees down into Danville, into Boyle County, and that was right where those storms were really causing some issues, and more pictures and damage pictures coming in out of Boyle County, Jim, and that was where I think we really started to see that line pulsing right back up or flexing again as it made its way across Boyle County between Perryville and Danville.
Yeah, that's exactly when it was happening. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and why we're seeing some of that now.
Here you go with some stuff out of the Danville area, what we're dealing with. And there you go, part of a tree down, another tree down, and some power lines. So, yeah, and I just retweeted another one, folks up there, that's at Constitution Park. Take a look at this, if we can pull this one up. Constitution Park there. Same person just sending that, and it is really showing the damage into that area at Constitution Park. So, yeah, there we go. Look at that, Jim.
Oh.
So we got quite a bit of damage there. You got some roads that, have at least part of the trees down on that. Constitution Park into Danville, into Boyle County.
I'm seeing reports, too, out of Taylor County. Big trees, old trees uprooted and thrown onto homes. And, this is tough stuff that we're talking about. And the other thing that we haven't really talked about, Chris, is we talked about how much rain that we've had here recently. And here's the deal. That made the ground very, very soft.
Yeah, right.
And so you can get big trees to topple over like that a lot easier. It's going to happen with gusty winds like this, but it's even easier when it's been so soft.
And again, look how quickly that next line is kind of coming together back there, stretching from south side of Louisville, Shepherdsville there into Bullitt County, goes back to the west of Bowling Green. Surprised they don't have more warnings out for those right now as they continue to bowl their way to the east. But those warnings into Kentucky that just continue to show off. Jim, let's see how many miles we've got here of these warnings, at least continuously. You're talking about, look at that, 253 miles of nothing but a continuous winter, I almost said winter storm warning, severe thunderstorm warning.
Severe thunderstorm warning,
yeah.
Now that's exactly what we've got. I'm going to go back just to the warnings map, Chris, here for just a second so we can just look at some of those.
Look at that video. That's Cynthiana. You can
that's
see
Cynthiana.
branches that are flying around. There you go.
Oh,
see that
yeah,
big
that
branch
was
just
flying
go
right off.
Took flight right there behind that telephone pole, and there she goes.
There it goes.
Likely causing a little bit of damage there.
That's one of the things we never see. We just always see after. But you're actually seeing the branch just take flight right there. So that's what's happening. But again, what he was talking about with that secondary line, no severe thunderstorm warning in Kentucky on it just yet. There's one down along I-24 north and west of Nashville, but that's the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have out there on that second line. But it's, this will still be a severe weather threat, but we really have to start worrying about the flooding here with that next round on its way. So we kind of enhance everything when it gets into that particular mode. I'll look at the First Alert Radar Network. And by the way, don't forget, you can download our weather app. We've got the QR code right there, and you can have radar in your hand, the palm of your hand, anytime. This is a great thing to have on boating days. boating days that aren't like this that we've warned you about. And another thing that I recently learned, Chris, is a lot of these cell phone companies are required to have X amount of hours of backup battery time on their towers in case they lose power. Some of them have generators.
Interesting.
So they are required to have it so that you can continue to communicate. They're required to at least have up to 8 hours, and in some cases even more than that. So you could still get warnings, delays, and still see our stuff right here.
Wow, Jim Caldwell with a more you know moment.
That's what that was. So you can dig in yourself and kind of look around on the internet too.
Latest power outage map. Take a look at what we are dealing with right now.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly. 183,000 that are without power now, and you're seeing some of those getting into central Kentucky. So we suspected, Jim, we would go over 200,000, 300,000 potentially before the day is over. Right now, we're peaking at 182,000. You can see the concentration across the metro. And getting a lot of pictures out of Midway of trees down into Versailles, or in Woodford County, I should say, north of Versailles. And you know, Jim, what we look at this, big trees down in Harrodsburg as well. Amy on my Twitter feed is just lighting up. Anytime you guys see some damage pictures or videos, just pull them up. But you know, Jim, a lot of what we're seeing, the reports are where we are, the areas we were calling out where the worst of the storms were on our radar are the ones that are now giving us the damage reports, those specific areas, just to show you how, you know, how good our radar system really is.
Right. No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's top notch, and we get the best of the best data.
Yeah, and that's large tree down Mercer County, the Harrodsburg area. So you can see
it snapped, didn't it?
It snapped, yeah. So that wasn't uprooted. That was just completely snapped. So that takes some significant wind to snap a large tree like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever tried to cut a tree down like that, even with a chainsaw, you know all about it. A lot of our friends out there, they know it. And I also see, it looks like they had a swing set, maybe, or not a swing set, but a swing or some kind of nice set up there with seats that's flipped over as well, which is what you would expect in that situation. But certainly a snap tree right there.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, and just one of the many reports of severe weather we are getting. So here's your radar again. The line of severe thunderstorms goes from roughly Indianapolis through area just south of Covington, right on through the Lexington metro, through Madison County, Richmond, and through Somerset, where the lightning with this is tremendous. And I would bet you here into Pulaski County, we're getting in on quite a few damage reports that are going to be coming out of this. So, Jim, let's take the radar in. Let's go along this line. We'll slow it down and just kind of look at the edge of this to see what we're dealing with, because those damaging winds are really now shooting east of Interstate 75. So we're going to give more heads up into eastern parts of Kentucky. But this is the headquarters area in Nicholas County. This would be Bourbon County. Here is Cynthiana into Harrison County. Mount Olivet, right on top of you. Fleming County, you got about 30 minutes. Owingsville, you got about 30 minutes. Mount Sterling, got about 5 before the worst of the weather gets in there. It is just slammed through Madison County, through downtown Richmond. Worst of the weather is over into Richmond, at least this go around. Irvin, Stanton, Clay City, and then eventually into Frenchburg, Campton, Beattyville, Boonville within 30, 45 minutes, down to McKee into Jackson County, Annville. Look how rough these storms are from Mount Vernon over to Somerset, Mount Victory. Hey, London, East Bernstadt, Lilly, down toward Corbin, and the Barberville area, and into sections of Whitley County. We're going to be dealing with that severe weather that is making its way very, very quickly into these areas. And Jim, where you see these little bits of bows in there, that's where you get those smaller scale winds that can be up there 70 plus miles per hour with the wind damage. And that's what we're dealing with. And a lot of concentration of the lightning here. And now, where these storms are in the same areas that this week picked up 4 and 5 inches of rain, watch the flooding here into southern Kentucky especially. And those warnings keep getting extended to the east. And they're going to keep getting extended to the east.
And that's the thing, they are. We're going to continue to see that push deeper and deeper into eastern Kentucky there. an area that knows flooding all too well, where it's just a little more common out there due to the topography of the region. It can fill up like a bowl all of a sudden, and you can really start to see those totals cause major issues out there. And I was looking at some of those winds there on that leading edge and that flank down there on the one in Williamsburg. At least some of the early gusts are trying to say at least 40, 50 miles per hour with that. And you know, that's enough. That's a strong enough wind. It's not a severe thunderstorm wind, but away from some of those sites it probably is, Chris. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and man, we're, you know, love our social media folks, you know, on X, Twitter, whatever we want to call it nowadays. We're getting just a ton of stuff from the area, and all the way from Louisville through the region. This is out of Richmond. Jim, look at this time lapse of this severe thunderstorm making its way through Madison County from our weather watcher Virgil down there, and that's what we've been seeing coming through Madison County. And the storm, the worst of it, look at that, the beginning of it just ripping through downtown Richmond. Funny, we can still hear the thunder booming here at the station.
I'm surprised that tree's holding on, but it is.
For dear life.
Yeah, it is, with that wind.
I'm looking to see what the wind gust has peaked at so far.
Where at? Richmond?
42 into eastern Madison County, but that's where the storm is right now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we've got there. What was the peak gust out here at the airport
Yeah,
so far?
getting a report, tree down, blocking the road at 4 Mile Road at Hunter Lane in Madison County. Jim, it was almost a year ago, Madison County took it on the chin by 100-mile-an-hour winds and baseball-sized hail.
Blowing that hail around, yes, blasting places.
That was a Sunday as well.
Oh, I remember that one all too well. Didn't we have a few Sundays in a row that we did that?
Back-to-back Sundays where we had all kinds of severe weather.
And this is and this is a Sunday once again where we're tracking these kinds of storms.
Something about the Sundays of late.
So no active tornado warnings, but these severe thunderstorm warnings are just as strong as weak tornadoes. So that's why we continue with our coverage, as you have seen. So with some of the pictures and video, it's rough out there, and there are a lot of people out of pocket. They're out of the norm. They're at cookouts. They're doing whatever, Chris. I mean, it's a holiday weekend. And
for our booth up there, I know we had some video a little bit ago we talked about from Somerset. If we can get that and pull that back up, because I just got another video and pictures showing pretty significant damage in Somerset as well. All right, so this is the view. Check this out. Look at all the trees down. Now, granted, those may be Bradford pears, which are extremely susceptible to high winds, but as you can see, a lot of damage there into Somerset. A lot of tree damage, especially.
A lot, and look, I mean, you've got
all the way up and down. Now,
that's the thing. It's far.
Now I just got another set of pictures and video out of Somerset as well, and we'll give you guys time to pull those up. But as soon as you get them, you can bring that up so we can show folks. But it is with this part of the line that made its way through there. Check this out. So here's from someone else in that same area, showing trees uprooted. Look at that from a security cam. All kinds of damage there, and there's some video as that storm made its way through. You see, Jim, anytime you start to see the leaves that are flying around like that, you know you've had some branches and trees come down without question.
Oh, they're out there. Watch it roll off that little gazebo there. I mean, watch that. I mean, that is some strong wind to cause that spray to look like that.
Yeah, and that again is down in Pulaski County, so we have a lot of damage across the region. We can come back to our radar picture and show you the leading edge of the damaging winds causing that. This would be Somerset right here. You're behind the severe weather now, at least this round. Here's Shopville. This is Highway 80. You get to London, becomes the Hal Rogers Parkway. This damaging wind is heading right into London. So we're looking inside this storm just to see if we can find any kind of a kink or anything like that. Nothing really showing up, but a pocket here of some really good winds right on top of 80 between Shopville and London. And that may be the culprit of causing all that damage we were just looking at into Somerset, and that is rolling into the Greenmount area, East Bernstadt, London, Lilly, all the way down to Corbin and into Williamsburg. And Jim, that means Yeah, there are tornado warnings. Jim said it a minute ago, no tornado warnings, but you know what? It wouldn't be too much of a stretch to say, hey, let's treat some of these winds like a tornado warning. Let's find that shelter just to be on the safe side. What do you say?
That's exactly what needs to happen. What I focused in on here is, as we were looking at this set of data down here, I started looking off screen at, let me go up here to the north just a little bit to show you where it might be, where we find some of the strongest winds. Could be right here, according to radar estimates, the ones that are moving through right toward Mount Olivet, through Falmouth right now. And I'm going to peek inside this, and that's headed toward Maysville too. And so far, according to radar estimates, this is some of the strongest stuff, pushing right at 70 miles per hour. So 60 to 70 is a safe bet for that northern edge, and that's headed right toward the folks in parts of northern Kentucky and, like I said, out there toward Maysville as well. I mean, that's really howling through there too.
Just on Twitter, now I just got a good video in for the folks up there, and this is going to be an example of why we batten down everything that is loose out there, but especially a trampoline. Take a look at this video. Look at the trampoline that is up on top of that house there, Jim.
Oh.
Way up there, and it looks like it not only made it to the top of the house, but it got planted up there.
Yeah, because the wind's still going and it's staying.
And it's staying, exactly right. So that is out of Madison County. So, yeah, trampolines are no match for high winds like that. They're like a big sail. The wind gets under there, boom, you're taking off.
It's one of the first things to go. They are. Because you're right, it's like a sail. Yeah, like a sail from a boat.
Crazy to see. And that video out of Richmond. And again, this is for people, Jim, we say this all the time, for people sending us pictures, videos. God bless y'all. We appreciate it. But here's rule number one. Stay safe no matter what. Yeah, we love our pictures. We love our videos. But, yeah, nothing is worth putting yourselves in the line of potential harm. Back to our radar, because look at the warnings now. I mean, that is one solid line of severe thunderstorm warnings. And that's a lot of wind damage, Jim, that continues to go into eastern Kentucky. And so
real close strike of lightning just then.
Yeah,
here.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll catch it in our earpiece.
Yeah.
Lots of trees down, blocking roads across central Kentucky, Jim.
So this has traveled. The line has traveled just about down the Mountain Parkway. So you folks back home in Sigersville, you're not under a warning, but be prepared because you've got some very strong winds that'll be there soon. We got the Clark County Mesonet side updated just a second ago, and 50 mile per hour peak wind gust there. And then you had a peak wind gust in Madison County at 42 at the one spot.
Sure.
Now again, that's what we're talking about. Well, we've at least recorded those kinds of winds, and that is what's coming your way just due east of that. Winds of at least 40 to 50 guaranteed from those reports, and then estimates that could go even higher than that. And that's down the Parkway and along the Hal Rogers Parkway as well, coming your way.
Yeah, we got a picture out of Main Street in Georgetown. So if we can take that here in just a moment, I'm going to show you a tree blocking Main Street into downtown Georgetown. And again, that's what we're dealing with there, part of that tree. And Jim, not only is that blocking, but it's got some power lines down too.
It sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got some utility lines, power lines. And this is a good reminder to say, never go around down lines, okay? Because they can spark without you even touching them. So we just get away from that and let the utility crews get in there and do some work to clean that up and get everything back online.
They're the experts.
They're the experts. That's right.
They know what to do. So yeah, stay away from that stuff, and don't even touch the tree because it's charged as well. If you another close strike.
And I think that hit our tower. That was. Yeah, we all heard that one in our earpieces here, and then boom, the light was. The thunder was instantly. Look at that second line now pulsing up.
Oh yeah, I mean,
no warnings with that. Come on, we got. Chances are that's producing some damaging winds south of E-Town right now. Power outages across the area. Here we go with the current look at. We're up to 100 and right at 190,000, and you're starting to see those trickling in to central Kentucky. and a little over 2,000 customers into Fayette County. And these aren't people, these are just customers. So, Jim, that's individual homes, that's individual businesses, what we are dealing with right now. And we'll see those numbers jumping continuously as that line goes through there. And then the next line comes into play. And then don't let your guard down, because we've got what may be the main show that arrives late this evening right along the front. And, Jim, that is likely to be another major wind event.